Hello and welcome to Back 40 Bushcraft. Today I'm at the Morning Mountain and Give Out Trails. The Morning Mountain Rec area is a mecca for local mountain biking, but there's also an outdoor skating rink down there, tobogganing area, and it's really just a year-round kind of place. They actually groom some of the trails here in the winter so that fat tire bikes can continue to ride throughout the winter. It used to be a volunteer run ski hill back in the day. I think it was just a T-bar. It was before I ever got here, or I just never experienced it at that time. But that's not really why he came here. He came to know about the little collapsible PSKOOK collapsible wood stove. I was honestly really ready to tell you my thoughts on it, and then as I was kind of building up the video in my mind, I had an epiphany. I think it works. So we're not going to do this right here. We're actually like at a little mountain biking hub. This is Placenta, Lefty. I just came up this way, which is upper bottoms up, one or the other. This continues to be Placenta, which is where we're going to go. We're going to go up. There's a little shoulder up there. A lot of standing dead. This is a new one of those flowy styles. I call it righty just because there's lefty. If I'm standing this way, that's left. And that's right. But it's not the name of it. Needless to say, I've been hiking I started at like 10:30, so 11:20, 50 minutes. That's got me to this little midpoint, so I'm not going to go too much further, and then see if we can find a little spot to land and get this epiphany started. Sound good, Petey? Hi. What does this look like, hey? Is this a nice spot? So perhaps you're wondering why I've cut all my pieces so small. Greg, why did you cut your pieces so small? Well, in regards to my epiphany the other day, I've owned this stove since December of 2022. So 15 months, 16 months, that kind of thing. And it has its uses. But one of the things that I've always done, I feel like there's two settings to this stove. The PSKOOK. There's the long burn setting, which is on the lower one, and then the short burn setting, which is on the upper one. And so by that, what I mean is, if I just need to do a quick boil, I just want to boil some water, and I don't really want to sit around for any amount of time, I'll put it on the upper one, and then I'll just make a hot little twig fire with it. It's kind of nice for that. But most often, I use it on the lower setting, the long burn, and what I do is a top-down style fire in it, where I would normally have, let's see, do I have any big enough pieces? Imagine, if you will, pieces about this size, but that actually are twice as long. Like so, whether you can see that or not. I think so. That's the way I've always done it. Now it gets a little flippy. So what I've always done is one of those long, big chunks of pieces that I would use, I would just sit out front, and it would actually be a bit of an ash catcher or a coal catcher. So by the end of a long burn like this, that log would be charred. But what it does is you build your little twig fire on top, but then it can settle into a longer coal burn so that you can do your grilling after you boil your water, or once those bottom rounds get caught on. Now, I just don't like the tippy outy coals coming out of there, and I know there's another one that just pops open and it all drops in. I don't think it has this height adjustment thing, and I know that it closes up, but I've come up with a different theory, because one of the things I've done is I've just cut a piece of aluminum out of some scrap at home, and I've put this here. Now why I've done that is so that when I am down to coals, if I want to walk away from the fire, and I've got all this on here, there's really little that can spill out and over. Now, as I was thinking about all this, I'm always kind of going a bit back to my toques, and I thought, well, hey, what if I stack little short ones in vertically? It will not only be contained, but won't it just burn straight down? Let's fill it up and find out. Okay, so in all fairness to my assessment of this, what I realized is I'm actually, in that first bit that I chopped down, this is in fact all cedar. And for all intents and purposes, cedar is a great fire starter, but it can be a bit finicky when it comes to like full-on fire building. So I did cut another small non-spruce or non-cedar. So I'm going to just take a minute to process some of that, and then I'm going to fill this back up again. Okay, 12:30. I'm gonna let that burn down just for a little while till I can get the grill on, I guess, and then I'll just smooth it all out, and then I'm gonna get the kettle on. Petey, he's a good dog. So let's talk about the PSKOOK. PSKOOK collapsible wood stove. First of all, it came in a sack. That's kind of handy because it's going to get dirty. This particular model came with the pot holder, whatever thing I think they call it. Comes standard. But with mine, it actually also came with a little barbecue grill, which was kind of a nice add-on, although it didn't come in the original order. And when I reached out to the seller, they said, "Oh, why don't we just give you a refund?" And I said, "Oh no, why don't you just send me that grill?" And so they sent it. It's nothing to write home about, but at least it kind of fits on there. Doesn't really fit on terrifically. It's really thin, so it's going to bend on you. But it's okay. It's better than nothing. Better than losing a hot dog through the pot holder. is what I'd say. It also came with a little pocket bellow. I have a different pocket bellow that I just carry around with me, and the one that came with that goes in sort of our family adventure bag that we have for canoeing and adventures. Now, we already talked about the different slots and what they're handy, what I consider them handy for, which is, again, if you want a longer burn, you put it on the lower one and you can stack your wood in there accordingly. The upper one would be great if you're just doing a super quick one, or maybe if you're one of those alcohol burning type of people. Now, does it warp? It's horribly warped. You know, in truth, you just don't know if it's going to make it every time you kind of go out. It's hinged and there's pins holding it and it's warped. Now again, I've had this for 15, 16 months. I've used it a fair bit. It's when you go out on your little sort of family gatherings, if we just want to cook some hot dogs. It's a good little grill. I think actually once for the Tiny Lights Music Festival, I might have cooked like 36 to 45 sausages on there. Obviously not all at once, but just continuously loading and cooking sausages for a big group of people because we had no propane for the barbecue. And here's another nice thing, is the lip, is the fact that it's off the ground, and it'll be even higher off the ground if you're doing the quick burn. And that's great in both winter and summer, because if you sit anything down directly on the snow, it can be a lot harder to light, just because one of those fire triangle, in order for a fire you have your triangle of air, fuel, and heat. So sometimes a fire can be harder to light if it's directly down on the snow. So it's handy for that. It keeps it out of the snow. Now that I'm testing this different way of just cutting these sticks and stuffing them all in there lengthwise, I really think I'm onto something with stacking those. Again, once I had it going, I didn't have to do anything. I had a good probably 40 minutes of cooking time of boiling water and making my bannock stuffed with mozzarella and oregeno. Oh, that was delicious, actually. Wasn't it, Petey? Now, let's address the elephant in the bush here, which is it really any good? Because here's the thing. It's way too big for one pot. You don't need all that room. But it's too small for two. Whoa, I just went up a full octave there. That's how incredulous this all just feels to me. It could be 2 inches wider, and I would get both of my pot and my little pan. 3 inches wider and you're gold. I don't mind the depth. I just think it needs to be wider. It needs to be one or the other. There's some really amazing things about this. Has a specific application. I would never carry it up a mountain like I did today, especially knowing that I've got my little toques right here and it's like so lightweight. But it's great for those little kind of family outings, if you got more than one person, 2 people. I have a couple of kids, so we can do 4 people with this. It's not going to be something that we're going to take on long trips. It's really just a picnic-friendly kind of stove that all packs up kind of nicely and gets stuffed into a sack that won't dirty everything. You can't really expect too much out of it, but for the under $40, I think, might have even been under $30, it's decent money spent. Because I do use it. I do take it out, and it's come in handy. What do you think? Is there anything I'm missing? I know there's a number of different varieties of these. Maybe there is a wider one, and I just don't know about it. If you happen to know of one that I'm talking about that's going to be about 3 inches wider, I think would be pretty ideal. What do you think? Have you ever thought about putting wood in vertically in one of these kind of stoves? And if so, what kind of results have you had? That's going to be about what that's about on this one. I'm just going to finish up my coffee, do a bit of a tidying up around here, get it all packed up, and get back down the mountain. One other point to mention, in case I haven't already, I cut my piece of aluminum to fit inside the tray. That seems to be the best way to do it. But as you can see, there's really just nothing falling out the sides. And I really do like the idea of self-contained applies to this stove. You know, I'm always a bit leery. I'm going to be 53 next month, and I'm always a bit leery about wandering around on trails and talking into a camera. What sort of self-respecting person does that? Just walks around and talks to their camera. Good thing I'm not self-respecting, I suppose. Hey, Petey, I gotta hand it to all those folks, all of you that are getting out there, doing your thing, making your vlogs or your TikToks or your whatever, so many things. How some folks can just get right out in front of everybody. And just because they're focusing on that camera, they're really able to put their creativity out there. And so, like buttons to all of you that are giving that a go, you know? You know, if you feel the same way about what I'm offering here, like, give me a like, subscribe, share, tell all your friends, tell the whole bunch. You think after a review like this, you're gonna want to go out and get a PSKOOK? Do you think it's a PS crap? I'm still just undecided. I'll just keep using it. Yeah, let me know what you think. I appreciate you coming out with me on this adventure today, and I hope to see you again soon. Until then, take care.